First, we want to start off by sauteing up our spinach or getting it wilted. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. You can also use frozen spinach in a bag as well if you prefer. Just make sure that you get it defrosted and everything. And then I'm going to add just about the entire bag of spinach. It will wilt down to hardly anything. And this is a 10-ounce bag. Once I have all the spinach in, I'm going to add just a little bit of water, and I'm going to cover it and let it cook down for a couple minutes. It won't take very long. So as you can see, after a couple minutes, it is all wilted down. You hardly have anything out of that entire bag. You want to take this off the stove, let it cool off, and drain it in a colander while we start preparing the chicken and everything. First thing I want to do is I want to lay down a layer of plastic wrap. That way we kind of control some of the mess here. I also like to buy my plastic wrap in the big dispenser from Costco. It's a lot cheaper this way, and it lasts forever. Next, I want to go ahead and prepare my chicken breast. If I get one of these giant ones in a package, the first thing that I do is I'll actually cut it in half. That way it's a little bit thinner, because that huge thick breast is a little harder to work with. I mean, you could stuff it another way. I'll show you that here in a moment, but I'm going to show you how I like to do my rolled up stuffed chicken breast. So go ahead and cut this in half here. The next thing I want to do is layer another layer of plastic wrap right on top. That way I'm not making a mess with the mallet itself. And then just show the chicken who's boss. We're going to pound it out. Sorry about the shakiness. I have the camera mounted to the counter, but you just want to pound them out where they're pretty thin. Once I have them pounded out as much as I want them to be, the next thing I want to put the ingredients in. So I'm going to layer some of the spinach in the middle. You don't want to put too much or it's just not going to stay in there. Next, I want to put some of the feta cheese in there. Probably be a little easier if you put it in a bowl first and then put it in. I also like to buy my feta from Costco. Feta can be very expensive at the grocery store, but you can get these really large containers at Costco. And I think it's like $7. It ends up being like a third of the price of a normal grocery store. Next, what I want to do is try to roll these up carefully. They're not always the easiest. The thinner that you pound out the chicken, the easier it will be to roll it. And of course, the larger the chicken breast is. But just try to get it in there the best you can. The smaller one, you'll see it's a little bit harder to get it packed in there. The nice thing about stuffing your chicken breast with the moist spinach and that cheese is that it keeps the chicken a lot more moist when you cook it. Plus, you're getting that flavor throughout the chicken. Next thing you want to do is take some toothpicks to try and close up the openings of the chicken. Now, the other way that I used to stuff my chicken breast, or that you could do, I used to do this like airline style. You just insert it there at the top and just kind of cut towards the center and move your knife around to the edges. You just want to make sure that you go slow and stay within the chicken. You don't want to pop a hole anywhere into it. You're just pretty much creating a pocket in there to stuff it with something. And you can take your time, just make sure that you don't pop holes anywhere, or the stuffing will come out on other ends. And then for this, I took the spinach and the feta and I mixed it together in a bowl just to make it a little easier to actually stuff it. And then I stick my finger in there and just kind of make sure that everything's opened up a bit. And then just stuff everything in there. Sometimes this could be an easier way to do it. Instead of doing the like the pounding and the rolling up, you're just going to get a different look to the chicken. You're not going to get like the little like pinwheel type look. And just make sure you get everything nice and tight in there. As you can see, I did pop a little hole there. We'll just use a toothpick to kind of close it up some. Same thing with the rolling. We're just going to put toothpick in any opening that's open. This will help it seal shut when you cook it and keep everything inside. And of course, the main opening, you need to put a toothpick in there as well. The next thing I want to do is sear the chicken breast. I also want to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper first. And I did spray them with just a little bit of olive oil to help it stick. A little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're going to go ahead and sear this on both sides. After a couple of minutes, go ahead and give it a flip. Do the other side as well. And then you're just going to do this with all the chicken. Once all the chicken is seared, I'm going to place it in the oven at about 350 for roughly 20 minutes. I cook mine to an internal temperature of about 155, and then I pull it out, and the carryover temperature will pop it pretty close to the 160. Well, the chicken's in the oven. I'm going to start preparing my sauce for it. I'm going to shift it on some basil. You don't have to use the basil, but I think it complements the dish very well. And I'm just going to shift it on this. And we're making pretty much a mushroom caper sauce. Next, I want to go ahead and slice up the mushrooms. I am actually going to remove the stems on mine. Go ahead and get these sliced up. So I want to go ahead and get a hot saute pan with a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to saute up the mushrooms. Now, I didn't really have too much of a plan for the sauce part of this dish. I figured I would just come up with something at the time that the chicken was cooking, so that's why I don't have a lot of my stuff ready. I'm just going to grab random things out of the fridge that I know that will go with this sauce. We definitely got to have some capers. I like capers with my chicken. We'll do some garlic. We can't leave that out. And we'll do some chicken stock since I don't have any white wine. We'll also add some heavy cream. This is what I call cooking in my kitchen, pretty much without a plan. We just kind of throw together what we can find in the fridge. When the mushrooms are almost ready, I'm going to throw in some of the garlic. Go ahead and give that a good saute. I'm going to add some of those capers in. And as usual, I do not salt until the end. The capers, they definitely add a bit of saltiness, so you don't want to overdo it. I'm going to add I'm going to add the juice of half of a lemon. We're basically making a piccata here. We'll go ahead and add our chicken broth that we made up. And I want to go ahead and let this reduce down a little bit. After that reduces down some, I'm going to go ahead and add in the heavy cream. I'm going to use about 1.5 cups. Go ahead and give that a good stir. And we want to let this cream reduce down as well. Our chicken has finished, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and let it rest for a few minutes while we're finishing the sauce. I definitely like to let my meat rest, especially when you got those cheeses and stuff in there. It kind of holds it together a little bit better, because if you cut it right now, it's just going to go everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and add in part of the basil. Go ahead and give that a stir. And you can let it keep reducing down until it gets a lot thicker, or you could always use a cornstarch slurry, which you just use an equal amount of cornstarch with some cold water mixed up. Now you only want to add just a little bit of that slurry at a time, because it will thicken it really quick, and you don't want to over thicken it. If you end up making it a little too thick, you could always just add a little bit more cream, or you could add a little more water or a little chicken broth to thin it out. Once you get it to the consistency that you would like, then you can go ahead and pull this off the stove. All right, next we're going to go ahead and prepare the chicken here. We're going to make sure you pull out the toothpicks. You don't want anybody eating one of those. They might, taste good and all, but let's get those removed. You can see it held everything in pretty well. And then we just want to slice this up. If only I had the invented smell-o-vision where you could smell everything. This smells really good. Take a look at the center here. You got the spinach and feta. Looks pretty good. Go ahead and place this back on the pan while we get our plate ready. I'm going to serve mine with a simple mixed green salad. Go ahead and layer your chicken on the plate. It's not going to be my prettiest plate, but that's okay. Go ahead and get some of that mushroom sauce on there. I'm going to add a little bit of reduced balsamic. It goes very well with everything here. A little extra feta on the salad. And we'll put some fresh cherry tomatoes on here. There we go. Simple meal. All right, we got to go ahead and give this a try here. Lots of flavor. The chicken is very moist. That's one nice benefit about stuffing your chicken. It definitely makes it a lot more tender and moist inside. I definitely recommend giving it a try. If you don't like these ingredients, you can always stuff it with something else, different cheeses. You can leave out the spinach. You can add sun-dried tomatoes. The possibilities are endless. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Subscribe, like, comment below.